Hey y'all, today I'm going to be showing you 4 delicious ways to use up those canned biscuits that you have just sitting in your fridge. These are all fast recipes that you can whip up in about 20 minutes or less. I have 2 breakfast dishes and 2 dinner dishes that are going to be so easy. You can't wait to try them. So let's go ahead and get started. To kick us off, we're going to be making this biscuits and gravy casserole. So to a medium dish, I have 6 eggs that I'm going to crack and put in here. And then I'm going to put in a half a cup of milk. You can put in half and half or have whipping cream, whichever type of dairy product that you prefer. And just give it a really good stir. I'm going to add in some salt and pepper. So I add in maybe half a teaspoon each just to give it a little bit more flavor. And once all of that is well combined, I'm going to get started on my sausage. So to my stove, I have this cast iron skillet that I absolutely adore. If you are not cooking with the cast iron, you really should. It is so good. It's so easy to clean up, and it just makes your food so much more flavorful. I'm going to go ahead and ground up all of this sausage, the whole pound of sausage, and going to just drain off any grease that is in that pan. And once the sausage is all done cooking, to my cutting board here, I'm going to just kind of cut these up. You can cut them up in 4s, you can cut them up, smaller pieces, however you want to do them. I just cut them up in 6 pieces. So just kind of make them a little bit small. And then to my 9x13 pan, I had greased this, and I'm just going to lay these out as even as possible. And once I have all the biscuits cut up and in this 9x13 pan, I'm actually going to just put that sausage that we just made and going to cover that all over my biscuits and make sure everything is nice and even there. And then we're going to you can use whatever type of cheese that you want. I like to use cheddar cheese for this meal. I did go ahead and use a whole cup of cheddar cheese and just spread that out as evenly as possible. And I'm so sorry that this is not in focus. I am still trying to learn. My new camera is just not working with me sometimes. And then after I put all of that cheese down, I went ahead and poured that mixture just all over the sausage and cheese. And then to this pan, I did just use like a little packet of gravy that I had made with some water. And so I'm just putting some gravy all over the top, and you can totally use homemade gravy, whatever your little heart desires. But I just use packet gravy just since it was super easy to do. And now that is it. I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes, and this is what it looks like when it is all done. It is so good. My daughter asks for seconds, and she's not a big breakfast person. My husband loves this meal. He loves it when I make it. It is so good. And it tastes just like biscuits and gravy. Usually when I have biscuits and gravy, I ended up putting my eggs and sausage and biscuits all together anyways. So this makes a wonderful, delicious casserole. All right, next I'm going to be making some super easy breakfast pizzas. So I'm just going to need this 1 can of biscuits. If you have more people in your family, you can definitely use another can of biscuits. But here, these are, I think, 8 biscuits here. I'm just going to cook them like normal. And then while that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get started on some bacon. And just so you know, you can definitely use sausage, whatever type of topping that you want for your breakfast pizzas. And I'm going to make some gravy along with it. And so now that the biscuits are done and my bacon is almost done, and I'm just kind of waiting on that gravy, the water to boil. And here is my bacon. I'm just going to chop up my bacon into small pieces just so they'll fit on top of my pizzas just perfectly. I did want to add that I did not use eggs with this meal, and you can definitely use eggs if you want to. I think you'd probably have to make about 5 eggs and just kind of scramble them up if you wanted eggs on top of this. I didn't for whatever reason, I don't know, but I didn't do it for this meal. But it would definitely enhance it and make it all the more better, but it is definitely delicious without it. So I'm going to take my biscuits and I'm just going to half them, and then I'm going to put some gravy on top of that, and just whatever kind of toppings that you want. I just have bacon, so I'm just gonna put bacon and cheese on top of that, and I had some leftover sausage, so I put a little bit of sausage on that as well, and that's all that I needed for this meal. It was so delicious. Okay, for this next meal I'm going to be making some mini calzones. So I'm just going to need one can of canned biscuits, and I'm going to open it without having a heart attack, which I usually always end up having a heart attack if I'm not opening it. Usually I make my husband open it if he's at the house, because I always have a heart attack. It's crazy. So I'm going to take one of these biscuits here, and I'm just going to lay it out. I'm going to roll it out with my rolling pin and get it pretty thin. I don't want it too thin, but I just want to be able to fold it over to make it into a calzone. And I have these mini pepperonis. I've never cooked with these mini pepperonis, but they are so cute, and I really liked, they worked perfectly for these calzones. So I definitely recommend buying these. And then I just have some shredded mozzarella that were kind of sticking together, so I'm kind of struggling with that a little bit. And then I'm just going to form it into a little pie like what you see here, and that's it. I'm going to do that with all of my biscuits, and just kind of putting them on a cookie sheet, getting all of them nice and rolled out. And as you can see, I'm just doing the same process over and over again until I have them all done. This probably is one of the longer recipes that I have. It did take a little bit longer just because I have to roll them all out, but you should be able to get it all done within 15 minutes or so. Okay, and now that they are all formed, I'm going to take an egg and just kind of crack it in this little small dish here. I'm going to make some egg wash basically, and I'm going to put it on top of all of these calzones here just to give it a nice thick glaze and to give it a nice lovely crust when it all is done cooking. And I put some Italian seasoning on top of this. You can put everything bagel seasoning, I think would be amazing on top of this as well. You can put whatever you kind of want. You don't even have to put any seasoning on it at all either. I did use Italian seasoning, and I thought it tasted very good as well. I think this was a really good alternative to having just plain boring pizza. We had these instead, and they were a hit. I placed this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 17 to 18 minutes. I just wanted to make sure that the insides were nice and cooked through, that the dough was cooked through, and then it had a nice, lovely golden brown crust on top. And this is what it looks like when it's all done. These were so good. We did not have leftovers, and it was just me and my 3 kids. We all devoured them. They were so good. I like to dip this in some pizza sauce, some marinara sauce, anything like that. And they were so good. They were so cheesy, and I put tons of pepperonis in mine. Okay, the last one is so good. You guys have to try these. These are called Unsloppy Joes, so it's so simple. I know when I am in a hurry and I don't really have time to cook, like sloppy joes or tacos, those are like my go-tos. But these were so good, and it was actually really simple to make. I'm just gonna ground up some hamburger beef just like you would do for regular sloppy joes. I'm gonna drain the grease, anything excess off of that I'm going to go ahead and drain, and then I'm going to take whatever type of sloppy joe mix that you want. I have this Aldi's brand that I'm going to use here. It's actually not my favorite, but it's cheap, so I bought it. And I'm just going to give this a good stir. I'm just going to make sure it's nice and warm, mix through all that stuff. Give it a good stir. And then I'm going to set this to the side, and we're going to get started on our crust for the sloppy joes. So I have this can of biscuits that we're going to be using, and just like the calzones, I'm just going to basically thin this out, make sure that I'm able to fold this into a pie form so that it will close just like a calzone. And I'm going to just scoop up maybe about a half a cup in each, or a quarter cup, something like that. Just so enough that it will be able to fit in here into these little biscuit crusts. I don't even know what to call them. And I'm going to pinch them closed tight, and I did put some cheddar cheese on top of that as well. For this recipe, I did end up using about a whole cup of cheddar cheese. You can use whatever type of cheese that you want. Normally when we have Sloppy Joes, we like to put American cheese on ours, so you could definitely put some American cheese in it, or maybe some shredded Velveeta cheese. Something like that would be really, really good in it. But these are phenomenal. I definitely highly suggest it. I think everybody in my house said that they want me to make this instead of regular Sloppy Joes from now, just because they had a lot more flavor because of the biscuit crust, and they were actually a lot cleaner. Like, they weren't so sloppy, so I really enjoyed that as well. And here's what they look like. And of course, I'm going to kind of do what I did with the calzones. I'm just going to glaze it. This one I did with some butter. I did about 2 tablespoons of butter here that I had melted. I'm just going to put it on top of all of these Sloppy Joes, and I'm going to cook these on 400 for about 15 minutes. I just want to make sure that the crust is nice and cooked through, and that it has like this golden brown color on top. And this is what it looks like when they are done. I'm telling you, these are so delicious, and I'm probably not making Sloppy Joes the normal way anymore. It has to be done this way. And I had some leftover sides that I wanted to go ahead and use up, so that's what we had with this meal. These sides came from a video that I have recently done, so I will link that in the cards above if you're interested in watching that video.
Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you found some new recipes for you and your family. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.